Yo, what is happening, everybody? Newbie here. What's going on? Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody's ready for a fun show. Sunday was just me and BC. Today, I got a handful of people here, but we got a good show. Keys I would still invest in, and I warned you guys on Sunday. I did a show yesterday with Vancouver Comic Junkie, and I warned you. I said, hey, it's going to be a great show. A lot of information, a lot of numbers, which I love. But if you are looking for dollar books, $5 books to turn into something big, you're not going to find it here. We are talking about big books that we still believe you should buy because there's either a big return coming or there's a big return coming long term. All right. So probably the best time to buy some of these books before they get out of hand. We've seen, perfect example, look at what happened with Kang lately. So yeah, it's going to be a fun show. Love having Ryan from Automatic Comics on. He's a numbers guy. He does great stuff. If you haven't checked him out, I've told you guys many times, make sure you guys go check him out. He does great stuff. I did my $1 million unboxing the other day. He just did his $1.1 million unboxing. So I'm going to have to do my $1.2 million unboxing. It's just going to get crazy. All right. So yeah, let's bring in the group. Let's bring in everybody. First up, he is Mr. Previously On. Shows are on Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's Mr. FaceTime. What's up, man?
What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just hanging out. Congratulations for having Bleeker on the first time. I guess that's his first appearance on YouTube. So, yeah, you guys had him. It was a good show.
Hell yeah, definitely. Always a good job for sure. And, yeah, it was good getting Bleeker on. He has some great information, from a retailer's perspective and everything like that. So, it was a good show. Sure. Yeah.
I did my best to get people to send 10 cents to the show in order to get Keys lights back on. So I hope some lights did come on, but it looked like Keys was in the dark for the most part. So yeah. All right, guys. Next up, we got Mr. BC. It's the place to be. He's not from BC. He's from Quebec. What's up, man?
Not much. You?
Hey. So, you were on the show yesterday too, man. You guys did really well. You guys interviewed Bleeker, another Canadian.
Yep.
Basically, I think you guys should change the show to 2 Canadians and an American. Just kidding. Face is basically Canadian now, I think, though, right?
Yo, first off, I'm still concerned about Keys. I don't know if he busted out of that cave, guys. Like, that's
right.
Priority number one right now. But
he's still in a hostage crisis.
Damn.
Yo, I tuned in from work and I was like, is this my phone or what's going on? So, yeah. But, you guys did great. I know Jay personally, Mr. Bleeker. So it was really great to, have him on and kind of explain some stuff. I mean, I had it in the background and I was at work, but, yeah, it was a great time. Great stuff. So, yeah, man. If you guys haven't, make sure you guys go check the rewind for that because it was a really good interview and, Face throws a lot of surprises and things like that. So, if you're looking for a PG show, don't watch it.
Yeah, that's not the one.
That's not the one for you. All right, gentlemen. Keys I would still invest in, but we got a special guest. Mr. Automatic Comics, Mr. Ryan, had nothing to do today. So I said, hey, why don't you come on the show? No, I'm just kidding. We've talked about this for a long time. He was on the last time we did it. I enjoyed his, hanging out with him and the numbers and everything. So he was on board to do this next one. We're probably going to do a few more. But, yeah, we got Ryan from Automatic Comics. If you don't know, make sure you guys go sub him up. Make sure you guys go find him on Instagram. Like I said, he just did a $1.1 million CGC unboxing.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, not quite that much, but yeah, so I changed my books this time because you gave me a little bit of a hard time that they were the same ones last time. And I made sure I put my favorite Golden Age Catwoman and Joker books back there because of the atrocity that was the last Grail versus Grail vote where Batman 1 lost to Cap 1. So I just had to put those up there.
It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. Some people were on board with those picks. Some people weren't. I will say this. In 2 weeks' time, we are going to do the second semifinal, and I was working on it. Ryan, I would love to have you on it.
All right.
Because I'm going to tell you right now.
Get my DC perspective.
That was this next one was like the hardest one like just comparing the books, like putting them, like making sure that they were as close as possible to like a really fair fight. Man, this next one is pretty crazy. So I'm gonna feel like an idiot if you guys are like, oh, this is easy. It seemed like it was pretty hard, man. So, you know, but yeah, so that is gonna be in 2 weeks' time. So hopefully you can make it on. But yeah, we're doing keys that we still invest in before we get started. Just a few friends we got to talk about, and then we can get the show rocking. And if anybody from Southern Ontario is here next Tuesday, I will be going to Brampton. I will be going to Kitchener. There's a lot of places I'm going to be shopping. So if you're around, pop in, say hi. First up, Big B Comics, 3 stores, one in Niagara, Barrie, and Hamilton. You guys know I rep the one in Niagara, also the one in Hamilton. Make sure you guys go check them out. Really fast shipping. Sometimes they even have the one in 25s, one in 50s, all those, because sometimes they're not spoken for. So if you want to get a head start, make sure you check them out. Next up, man of the hour yesterday, Mr. Bleecker, Mr. J. Make sure you guys go check out bleekerstreetcomics.com. Code word newbie comics #1, get 10% off. The guy's got like 3,000 books. I'm sure you'll be able to find something you like. So make sure, he's giving you 10% off. Go check it out. And if you're starting, a logo, a show, a YouTube, whatever the case may be, graphics, check them out. Talk to Derek. Tell him Newbie sent you at Shape State Creative. Boom. Perfect. All right. Now, my second favorite part, and usually this is when Hyper would take over because he is the chat road call, but we're going to do the chat road call really quick. Mr. Dan Delatorre, what is going on, sir? Yes, if you guys don't know, this Friday he is going to be going on Tony Sanders' channel. He's going to be fighting for that crown. If you guys remember, Hyper is a 5-time TV champ. I'm a 1-time world heavyweight champ. So keep that in mind. 1 time, but still the champ. So make sure you guys go tune in, give him some votes. Bleecker, what is going on, man? Kid Collector. Let's start this off with a bang. Can't wait. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. You guys don't know, he's changed everything up. So make sure you guys go tune in. He's got a new setup downstairs. He's got new books. It's crazy. Go check him out. Let's see here. We got Phil here. What is happening, sir? So many people. Jeez. Bloop. Comic Criminal. Chef. Just Cruz. I just talked about him. Spidey's Comics. Keys to Everything. Bleecker and BC. We're taking all them first appearances. It was the cam. Yeah. Okay, sure. What's up, everybody? Uncanny, what's going on? 1/3 of the pressable defects. Guy, what's happening, man? Appreciate you stopping by. Moonlight, what is going on? Yeah, so there is a lot of people here. If you're watching in, behind, on the rewind, whatever the case may be, welcome. I hope this show is fun for you as it is going to be for us. So with that said, let's get started. I'm pretty excited, man, because some of these books are kind of on my list that I'm kind of looking for. So let's get it started. Boom, 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 boom. Now, the only people who have seen this list is me and Ryan. So genuinely, Ryan and myself are probably not going to be as surprised, but BC and Face might be a little bit more surprised.
I can act surprised if you want me to.
Oh,
I'm always surprised.
Let's go. I'm excited.
Also, we're going to go for, we're going to go a show without introducing a character in the Newbieverse. That is going to be my goal for today. So
Good luck with that.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's early. It's early.
If you missed it, Red Punch has joined the Newbieverse. I was trying to say Punchline, and it came out Red Punch. So things happen, man. Things happen. So, all right, let's get the show going. First book up, Strange Tales 158. And I will take this time right now to say, guys, I apologize. This was my sleeper pick for the Loki show. I was expecting him to show up. I was expecting this book to kind of pop off. A few people were on it. A few people bought it, but hey, it's still a good book to have. Very undervalued. This is the first appearance of the Living Tribunal.
Yeah, so I mean, this is just one of those books where it's a big character that could eventually show up. I mean, it's probably not going to be something where it's going to be like a main character in a movie or anything like that, but I think it's going to could be a potential for a secondary character, kind of like how Eternity was referenced in the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie, that kind of thing. I think that's probably where you would end up seeing a character like this. But I'm a big fan of red covers. I like red covers. I think this one looks really, really sharp especially when it's clean, like minimal creasing.
Yeah.
And there's not many of these books on the census. I mean, it's a pretty uncommon book, at least graded. So I like you said, I always do numbers, and I went and checked, and it's only 480 of these universal copied on the census. And when you're talking about other books, even from a similar time period, having usually thousands for keys, it's a low number, and it's not too expensive. You know, a 7.0 is going to run you about $500, and you can get much cheaper than that in lower grades. And it's up. I mean, it is up like everything over the last year. I mean, it's up about 120%, but that's really not too bad when you consider what a lot of other books have done. And so that's why I think it's not a high risk book. This is the other thing when we're talking about these big keys like this, and this is something I always talk about on my channel, is that I like, quote, like specking on books that are already big keys, because my downside risk is very low. People are always going to want that book. And yeah, I'm not going to get 500, 1,000% return on a book, but you can still do very well. Like we saw with Avengers 8, you can still see big moves in those books. If the characters do show up, and really like they're going to have a solid baseline value regardless. So I think it's a good book to pick up if you can come across it.
Yeah, I agree with Ryan on all points because you pretty much nailed it on the head. I do think we will end up seeing the Living Tribunal within the MCU, but very much on a small scale. You know what I mean? We won't get it on a, oh my god, this is the big bad of a full movie type thing. You know what I mean? But it's definitely something I would try to pick up, especially raw. You know what I mean? If you come across a raw copy, like, I wouldn't even hesitate. We were actually talking backstage about hesitating on a book when you when you come across it, and I did it. I regret it. So I would definitely grab one.
Yeah, like Ryan said, this is already a pretty significant key, even without any MCU spec. So, Living Tribunal is a cool character and has a pretty significant role in the cosmic hierarchy for Marvel Universe. So, he's always going to sort of be around, or eventually show up, even when he hasn't been in use for a while. In the comics, it's only a matter of time before they bring him back to kind of reestablish his presence and everything like that, because he is one of the top rungs of the food chain, so to speak, in the Marvel Universe. So that being said, it probably is still only a matter of time before some variation of the character does make an MCU appearance. Like you guys said, may not be hugely significant at first, but obviously there's potential to build down the line.
Yeah.
It's just that type of character. They've got a lot of different avenues that they can approach how they want to use this character. So
I love this cover. I try to stay away from like the newer cover buys, but this one is one that I just haven't really found a good price in the raw selection of this book. I mean, like Ryan said, if there's not a lot of creases, this is a beautiful book. The red really pops. If you've ever seen a very high grade of this book, it really pops. It really stands out. This is a book I've always wanted it since I started collecting and found out this character. It is a mega key just without any spec, but if he does show up, I mean, we sometimes forget that, like, even though we know these characters are coming, some people will buy it, like us, we're kind of ahead. But then, like, even when this character shows up, whoever, seems to be hot, like Kang, for example, right? Like, everybody's still buying Kang stuff. And it's like, you're kind of already late to the party. Is there deals to be made? 100%. But, this is just one of those good books that, like, if you're looking for an investment, I mean, you could buy it, put it away for a bit. You're not going to really go wrong with having this book in the PC, even if it doesn't pan out for a few years. You know what I mean? Very interesting. I just want to ask you guys, do you guys think, like, say, an Omega Red and a Living Tribunal kind of have the same length in the MCU, like kind of one and done almost?
I mean, I think Omega Red could play a bigger role in a movie if he does actually show up, like an active role.
Yeah.
Living Tribunal, like, I mean, I think Living Tribunal plays a role in like the Magus storyline, that kind of thing, like, but it's like somebody who's controlling super important, high power items in the universe. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe one and done, but I think Living Tribunal could be something that extends a few things, a few movies, but just in a behind the scenes type role.
Right hand of God.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the thing when you start thinking, like, people are, including myself, I've talked about, like, Living Tribunal and the Beyonder, and it's just like sometimes you have to think about it, right? Like, how can they do like a one and done, or like, kind of move on, or are they gonna have, like, because essentially these are characters that's just like, they could easily just destroy everybody kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know.
I mean, they usually have to nerf them a little bit, like they did with Thanos. I mean, like Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, it was so much stronger than he was in the movies, in the comics. And so you usually have to do that, because otherwise nobody can compare with these characters level.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just was, somebody actually introduced me to somebody, and he actually had this book for sale. I would probably put it at like a 3, somewhere around there. He wanted 150 Canadian. I kind of turned it down. There was just way too many creases. It wasn't as sharp. Thinking about cleaning it and stuff, it just didn't really seem like the right investment. So I'm holding off. But yeah, this is definitely a book I am looking to buy. One to keep in the PC, and one to there's a few bucks to be made the second this is announced or hinted at. So all right, next book. Let's act surprised, gentlemen.
I'm laughing at that mittens for hands. It's pretty funny. Batman 251 classic. Oh, yeah.
Neil Adams cover. Ryan's got it right behind him.
Nice.
Ryan, what grade is that? The one that you got?
9-0.
Oh wow. Okay.
Nice.
All right. Well, yeah, we got Batman 251.
Yeah. So I mean, this is just one of the most. It's not really like a key for something that's in the book. I mean, it is when the Joker turns back, kind of like he turns more evil. He's less of kind of like a comedic villain and becomes more of an evil villain. So it's a turning point. But this is, I mean, it's like 99% a cover buy. I mean, you're buying this because this is one of the best Neil Adams Joker covers. It's just one of the best Joker covers that's ever been done. And the reality is, it hasn't moved all that much. I know it's like it kind of maybe suffers from DC, like the DC books just don't move like Marvel books, but with how much even some just DC keys have moved over the last year. I mean, I looked at this one and it's like, it's only up about 70-75%. And when we're talking about a relatively obscure character with that Strange Tales 158, with the Living Tribunal moving up over 100%, and then a huge book like this that almost any Joker collector is going to want to have this in their collection. It just, to me, it hasn't moved nearly enough. I don't think that you can ever really go wrong with this book, but I'm a DC fan. I'm a Joker fan. So that's my opinion on it. But I love this cover. This was actually the first, when I got, it was this copy. That's what caused me, it like set me down the road of like keeping a lot of books, because I'm like, oh man, this book is awesome. So it's just like, before that I was often just selling most books I had, but then once I got that, I'm like, man, that book is just amazing. And it started getting me to keep more and more books, and it's been a dangerous trend for me.
Jeez, man.
But it's a good trend. You still got them. They're nice and flat. It's right there behind you.
Yeah.
Same thing for me. I mean, this is one of the most iconic covers. It's easily in my top 20 of all time, literally. So, it's
covers or books?
Covers. Like, it's classic Neil Adams, like you have mentioned over there. It's for me, it's down. So, I agree with Ryan that the book hasn't moved much. It's pretty stagnant, but hey, that's solid pricing right there. So, you know what I mean? It's a book that I wish to own in my PC. So yes, Ryan, I'm very jelly right now. But it's an absolute beauty. It carries, I guess, I don't want to say nostalgia, but like it's a classic, iconic cover. I wish to own it. So 100%, if I could, I would.
Yeah, this is kind of, man, like I'm a huge Joker fan, first of all, and yeah, like you guys have all said, this is one of the most iconic Joker covers. But as far as like uh, I guess a key goes, it's kind of a tough call because it's like Ryan was saying, it's sort of just like a turning point, I guess, in the Joker's career, where Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil kind of started turning him into the more iconic character that we have today, rather than the campy clown that he was before. So obviously it's a really cool book with a great cover and everything. But like I said, the value has pretty much stayed relatively similar. So to me, it kind of sits like one of those books where it's like sort of like, I guess you kind of look at it like one of those blue chip stocks. Like you're not gonna get it cheap or anything like that, but it's not really gonna lose value. It's just not gonna gain a whole lot real fast either, more than likely. It's just gonna slowly, steadily continue to gain value over time. So pretty
I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, right. I put this one in the same category as and I know you guys are probably gonna roll your eyes, but Iron Man 128, the Green Lantern one, right? The drug issue, right? They're iconic issues.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're realistically buying them for the cover, right? You're not really buying. If you're buying one of these books and thinking, oh, you know what, in 10 years I'm gonna make $1,000, well, fuck. I mean, you can put.
It's like Green Lantern 76, like another Neil Adams one. Like that's one of my favorite covers. There's never going to be an event that causes that book to spike. You're right. It's like a blue chip type book that will just gradually increase.
Right. So and even when you did and only speaking on the Iron Man one, but even in Iron Man 2, when we got to see that alcoholic side of him and things like that. I mean, the book was okay, but I mean, even if you look back, I mean, in 9.4 to 9.8, somewhere around there, I mean, it's still in that $200 to $400 range, which isn't crazy. That's basically what you're paying for a book, right? So again, it's a great cover, an iconic cover, 100%. Nobody can dispute it, but this is just not an investment book. This is one that, you're buying this because of the fact that it's the cover. It's always going to gain money. It's never going to go. It's just always going to go up just a little bit year by year.
Right.
I don't think it's going to go down. And, once they get Joker done right and once they get DC done right, I mean, they could see a little bit more of a spike because, it'll be in our face, Joker, this, that. So, but definitely one that I think everyone, including myself, who's not the biggest DC fan, I would love to have this in my PC.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. Hyper, if you're listening, we got Raphael #1.
Now, I know this one could potentially be a little controversial just because I was watching, I watch Comic Book Investments that is Dave. Is that his name? But he did a video recently where he was talking about books that he wouldn't buy. And this was one that was on his list. Yeah. And now it was at the end, and he talked about it where he was saying it has come down a lot and maybe could come down a little more. But that's exactly what I'm looking at with this book is that when I'm thinking about key Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle books, it's like issue 1, then Raphael #1. Those are the two big books in that. Then you probably go issue 2, then maybe 3 and 4 because it's a higher print run than like issue 2, but Casey Jones is basically the #2 most popular character in that universe behind the Turtles and Shredder, who are in issue 1. Yep. And so, this book got out of hand this last year. I mean, so I was looking at prices for it, and like a 9.4 a year ago was $390, and it peaked out at $2,200. So it was up 460 some odd %. So I mean, it's down now around $1,000, and I think that is getting to a very reasonable price point. I don't see this book getting back down into the $300, $400 range in that type of grade. I just don't see it happening. And so that's why I think it's getting to that point now where it is good to get into that book. Cause I've talked about in this other videos where I kind of see these prices, when you see these big spikes, is kind of like seeing the future for the value of a book when news starts to come out for it. And so I could see this book getting back up to those kinds of prices when there's more, Turtles movies or that kind of thing that come out. And so I think this is a really good book to get, because like I said, I consider it the number 2 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles book.
I do question though, Ryan, like if they were to make such a movie, you know what I mean? Like we've had movies and whatnot. Do you really think it would really spike significantly, or like we would get?
I think I would be looking at back to around that $2,000 range. That's where so I'm not saying it's going to become like a $5,000 book and a 9.4 or anything like that.
Yeah,
I mean 9.8s are definitely up in that price range
for sure.
But yeah, no, but I think this is, of the Turtles books, I think this is one that I would buy. And one thing I've learned with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is that if you think they aren't going to go up, you're going to regret selling that book.
Yeah.
I had a 9.8 of issue 2 that I bought like 2 years ago for, I think, like $350. And then I sold it like 5 months later for $1,100. And I was like, I'm doing so great. That book is now like $5,000. Yeah.
It's wild. It's wild.
It's like these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles books, the limited print runs really do, cause demand spikes, like price spikes, because there's just not a ton of them out there in these larger format books. Yeah. I do hate the large format though. I don't like this larger slabs. They're just a pain in the ass to deal with.
Yeah. I sent in the Last Ronin as a slab, and it came back like it was the first time I hold a magazine one, and like, Jesus Christ, this thing's huge.
Like, they don't fit in boxes, like they don't fit on my top shelf.
Yeah, man.
It's just like
awkward. It's awkward. But it is true, man. The TMNT books, like, I mean, they can blow up at any minute. I think we even had recently, I think it was the best of Raph, if I'm not mistaken, that like recently came out, hit like $80 out of nowhere. But yeah. So for this book, I do feel it's risky. You know what I mean? If you're looking to invest into it, it's kind of those risky investments. But for the PC, I mean, definitely something I wish to own. I think everyone wishes to own such a book like this, but I wouldn't put too much money into this personally.
I mean, raws are a really good way to go with this one.
Yeah, that's it. Like I'm right there.
That is a good option, because there's a plenty of raws on eBay that you can find, and just find an auction and try to pick one up that way.
And dude, the 8.5 at 570, like that's pretty reasonable. You know what I mean? But once we hit the 9.6 at like,
yeah, but be careful, because let's look at the dates, right? So an 8.5 sold on May 27th of this year for 570, but then a month later, or not even 2 weeks later, it already had gone up almost $200. Right? So,
but the inconsistency scares me, right?
Oh,
so,
yeah. That's why I say auction is a good way to go with that book. If you're looking to pick it up, you'll find one that's a decent price.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. I would go raw if I had to get one, raw, like no other thing.
Just it'll be a while till you get it back if you do want to get it graded.
Oh yeah,
it takes forever. The magazine grading is even worse than the comic.
Yeah, and like this kind of I think it sort of follows into like a similar category as the last one, in that these older TMNT books, they, like Ryan has said, they just don't really seem to lose money at any point in time. They don't lose value, because like as stated, that there's a pretty low print run on these, so they are tougher to find and everything like that, especially in good condition and everything. But raw, like, seems to be a lot better option on these, because man, those fucking graded prices are really high. As awesome of a book as it is, I love the Ninja Turtles and everything. That's just a really high price for the graded copies. Yeah, the raw copies are definitely a feasible option. As far as like the potential with it, I mean, we know, we're getting something new from the Ninja Turtles at some point. Like Seth Rogen has some involvement in it, but who knows? They've been rebooting a lot of these 80s properties, and man, it's just which ones are gonna pan out and which ones won't. We'll see. I'm hopeful for the Turtles. Like, obviously there hasn't been some great reviews on G.I. Joe that just came out and everything like that. So it's not gonna. It's definitely not gonna lose money, but again, it's not gonna be one that's gonna gain a whole lot of value real fast either, probably. So,
Face, you hit it right on the nail there. Seth Rogen, right? Seth Rogen is in charge of it. It's not going to be a serious movie. It's going to be, it's going to be very fun. And for those reasons, I've said multiple times, I said, they're probably going to bring in Casey Jones because it's going to be successful, one, and then they're probably going to have a demand for like a second and a third movie. So why not bring, Casey Jones in? With Seth being that guy, we can probably, we could probably assume that it's going to be somebody kind of fun and cool playing Casey Jones. And I feel like if you were to hit on that character, again, with that markability and stuff like that, and he could kind of not steal the movie, but if you could have enough people say, man, that Casey Jones though in that movie, that was hilarious or something like that, like I feel like you're going to have moments of that. I feel like it's going to be one of those cases where the character is very successful, the markability, and then this book is just going to go up a little bit. I can totally see that, but again, I'm not the biggest Turtles fan. Like Hyper, who else is a Turtles fan? Panda and things like that. But it is obviously a big book to have. I think this is gonna, once the Turtles movie does come, because there is gonna be a reboot shortly, I think all of them are gonna go up regardless.
Yep.
So.
But I do question, like you just said, the casting for Casey Jones would be key, right? If let's say the character let's say we get a Brie Larson on Casey Jones, you know what I mean? That situation, that's what I'm saying is like, then obviously it turns around, right? So
yeah, you never know.
Yeah,
you gotta wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, like I think the differences there is like with Brie Larson, I don't know how many like hardcore Captain Marvel fans are out there, but there are a lot of hardcore Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fans.
Yeah, for sure.
And a lot of them are around like my age now, or this type of, and have plenty of money to spend. So I think that's one of the reasons too why you see a lot of these nostalgia type books really picking up. Those are the books from this age's childhood, and so then they've got money to spend, and that's just been one of the trends really for the last year.
Yeah.
I feel like Chad hates snakes because he's always saying fight a snake or something, or do this to the snake. So I don't. So yeah, just throwing it out there. Yeah, but again,
one of the other downfalls I think of this book right now is like I just mentioned the G.I. Joe movie, fucking Masters of the Universe too. Like that's got some pretty mixed reviews, man. So like that 80s nostalgia like is great and all. It's just not panning out real well at the moment.
I mean, you've also like that's the whole thing though. It's all about selling into the hype.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you sold that DC Comics Presents 46, is that the one? Is it 46 or 27? 47. If you sold that into that, like that book had hit around $4,000 in a 9.8.
Yeah.
I mean, like
it was crazy.
So you have to leverage those types of events. I mean, that's kind of what it's about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and you can't really go wrong with this one, man. This is definitely one to have. I've seen this in one of my shops in Burlington. Actually, they've had one. They come and go, so like it is accessible. So if you think, I just think when it hits, I think it'll be done pretty well, especially with Seth. So I could see this, gaining a bit of money. So if that's what you're in for, this is definitely one to invest. All right, we've got one of my least favorite characters.
Oh, man.
I got the wrong book. I don't have anything bad to say about Sabretooth. I think so.
I was like, why are you going to sit on Sabretooth? Sabretooth, do you?
No, but we got Iron Fist number 14. First appearance is Sabretooth.
Yeah, I mean this book is, I mean, for one, there are only a few villains in my mind that really seem to fight against that whole villain books you can't really invest in, like the mentality. Because I mean, a lot of villain books, like I will steer clear of, unless it's just a book I want personally. But Sabretooth is an extremely popular character. He is one of those villains that it doesn't matter if he's showing up in a movie or not. That book is in a lot of demand, and the big reason is his link to Wolverine. I mean, You've got the most popular character in Marvel. I mean, maybe other than Spider-Man, and this is his like primary antagonist. And so I think this book is always a good buy, and it's gone up a fair amount over the last year. I mean, was looking at like 9.4s, and this is US, we're about $1,425 recently. Now, if you really want to go for a big book, you can go for the 35-cent variant, where like a 9.4 sold about 4 years ago for over $8,000. So those books are crazy, and just they'll sell for all kinds of numbers. But yeah, no, I think I have 2 copies of this one now. It's just I buy this book when I come across it anytime I think it's a reasonable price, because I never see it go down. It only goes up.
Yeah. And it's true. You can't help but like think of Wolverine when you see Sabretooth, right? You know what I mean? It's like a Batman Joker type thing. So I don't ever see this like now with the new pricing. I think this is where it's gonna sit. You know what I mean? For now, and then probably spike again. We know X-Men are coming. MCU. I could see them bringing in Sabretooth 100%. So definitely a book I would invest in 100% for same reasons Ryan said, and of course the possibility of him showing up in the MCU.
And he was one of the characters that, other than the first X-Men movie, I thought they actually did pretty well. I liked. I can't remember that actor's name. Lev, is it?
I know who you're. I know. I know him, but I can never think of his name either.
Maybe somebody in the chat remembers it. But I always liked how he played Sabretooth. Yeah, Liev Schreiber. I always liked how he played that character.
I'm checking it now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Liev Schreiber.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Sabretooth is awesome, man. Like, as far as being, Wolverine's main villain and everything like that. And that once they finally do bring Wolverine into the MCU, they're probably going to lean pretty heavy into the Weapon X stuff.
Yeah.
So, which Sabretooth plays a lot into. So, it's almost a guarantee that you're going to see him show up, and he's going to play a pretty significant role with Wolverine. So, as far as that goes, it's almost as safe of an investment as you can get. Like, there's going to be some return on your money there whenever that finally does play out, and it's probably one of the biggest guarantees to play out that we've got. So yeah, you really can't go wrong with this one.
And I think BC made a good point though too. That I think that, and it's true with a lot of these books. I think a lot of these books have made their moves. We've seen that over the last few months. We've seen a lot of leveling off, and so we are going to probably need some more news or something to really see a big, any type of big increase again.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When you guys hit it, you guys have said it. I'm just going to repeat it for a fourth time. When you think about Wolverine, you think about Sabretooth, right? And I'm under that assumption that we're not going to get all of them right away. I mean, it's going to be a slow burn, right? I mean, if you think we're going to get all the X-Men the first movie, I mean, great. I just don't see it.
No.
So I think it's going to be slow. There could be an origin, or there could be like how they team up. I mean, there was that rumor that they were going to be doing the Wolverine origin, stuff like that, and you can bet that it's going to be done proper. So with that said, I mean, we're going to get Sabretooth. So the way the comic world works, right, is, a show comes or something happens, that goes up. So, there's a first bump. And then, like Ryan said, it's a cool character. It's a cool villain. You associate him with Wolverine, but I also think that it's not a character that they could just kill off.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that he could reoccur and come back in, because Sabretooth has ties to like Magneto, like a bunch of villains that they could just kind of, reintroduce him. So like, it's not a character that they would, it would be stupid if they killed him off. But again, a character that if every time you keep showing up, I mean, you're going to see that bump. You're going to see that, that increase. So why not get into it early? Yeah. I mean, he's also
too, so. I still have no idea how they're going to bring the X-Men into this universe. I'm interested to see how they pull that off, because it's it's such an established universe. How do you bring this new group of like a lot of different characters in, unless they have like some type of event, that causes them to start appearing?
I think you'll have, me personally, and I've said this, I think you're going to have your like Cyclops, your Jean Grey, your Beast, who else? Possibly your Colossus, like kind of already there, but then like, your Jubilee, your Gambit, your Rogue, your Wolverine, your Nightcrawler. I think that those are going to just come in Storm even. I think those are just going to come in like in different movies or different areas. I don't think they're going to be like, hey, here's our team.
I wonder if they're going to leverage Deadpool in some way with that, because they've already got Colossus in there, you know, and they know he's got something coming. But yeah, I'm not. He's a strange one to to bring everybody in with, because you can't really have, you know, all the kids watching that movie.
Another thing is that the MCU has yet to even acknowledge mutants. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like, within their
universe,
we got one, but it wasn't. Has it been acknowledged that he's a mutant?
They didn't actually call him out as a mutant. So
it's like Wanda's technically, you know, part of the whole X-Men.
Well, they retconned that shit. So
yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like we have yet to get an official. Oh my God, you're a mutant. You know what I mean? It's just.
Yeah.
Well, no, they did put an actual mutant in, but just it wasn't. It was such a minor character, you know, supporting character that it's like, does it even really matter at this point yet?
Yeah.
Because the Ursa Major showed up in Black Widow, who was definitely a mutant.
Ruined
but yeah. Huh?
I said, way to spoil it. Now eBay's gonna go crazy.
No.
If that's the one that blows up, then I mean, shit.
All right, Ryan, this is all you and Face and maybe VC, because everybody who knows me knows I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. But we got Star Wars 42, first Boba Fett.
Yeah, this
Bubba,
is not.
Did you just say fucking Boba Fett?
He did say Boba Fett.
Bubba.
I was going to make
Boba
a joke
Fett.
about Darth Vader, but
wow.
So,
Hyper.
new member.
I'm gonna have to get a new.
Guys,
fucking Boba Fett. I'm done.
You know, like I'm just gonna get like a fake mustache or something, just one of those.
Hold on, I'm a wrestling fan, okay, and I think everyone here pretty much knows that by now. So the Dudley boys, you got Bubba and Devon. So I'm expecting someone to make a photo of this, please.
All right, so.
Oh my God!
40. It took me 42 minutes to create a new.
This is good. This is at a good pace now.
Yeah. So yeah, this first appearance of Boba Fett, but you know, I think there is another quote first appearance, which is that Marvel Super Special number 16. But that is like a magazine size book, so this one tends to be more popular. But yeah. I just bought a copy of this. I also just bought a copy of 68. I have a copy of 81. Like I buy these books when I see them, because it's definitely a book that since the show ended has decreased in price, you know, along with all the other keys in this. And so I don't see a reason not to buy this. You've got a show dedicated to that character coming. You've got The Mandalorian, which was like the most popular show on the planet, and I see no reason to not buy these books. I see, like, Star Wars is one of the biggest franchises in the world, and there's no reason that these books won't continue to go up. This is like a 100% buy for me, and like I said, I just bought one like a week ago, and so I there's no way I can't recommend it.
Yeah, for all those reasons, exactly that, I would buy it as well. This is not a book I ever see dipping. This has already solidified its place in, you know, comics and in the market. And we did see, you know, it went up a bit after a Mandalorian, or within that time. Sorry, I don't know. You said it did go down after Mandalorian.
Yeah, I mean the last month or so I've seen it, because it peaked. So the one that I bought was a 9.6, and it had peaked around 1,600.
Okay,
and I bought it for right around 11. You know, and so that's to me like
that's a deal, man.
Yeah, there's no way I wasn't going to buy that book.
Yeah, so that's it. Like I don't think this is another book that I don't think is going to dip any lower than that. You know, this is a stable book. It's only going up from here. If any other direction, I don't see that happening. So yeah, total buy for myself.
Fucking Boba Fett. Wow. Man, every time you touch Star Wars, Newbie, every time you touch Star Wars.
Why?
Yeah. So shit. Well, the show's coming. We're obviously going to see a lot of what happened with Boba Fett after he climbed out of the Sarlacc pit, I think, and how that played out, and where he's been since then and everything. And Tamira Morrison, taking up the role and actually getting to be a total badass, even for the little bit that we saw him, in The Mandalorian and everything. Just it bodes pretty well for the series.
Mhm.
So
He was awesome.
yeah, he was. I gotta agree. Once the series actually drops, once we start getting the trailers and like we see that, how awesome it's gonna be, and I do have a lot of faith in it with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni running it.
Oh,
And
yeah,
everything
man.
like that. I think this book is gonna see even more of a spike, even with as high as the prices are on it right now.
Yep.
Yep, they're legit finally making Boba Fett into the awesome character that Star Wars fans have known him to be for years. So.
Who?
Yeah, and I heard you reference the Sarlacc pit, and that's why I mentioned issue 81. So
Yep.
that's when he comes out of it. So that's why that's like another good key
Yep.
to get if you're not aware, for anybody
yeah.
that's listening with Star Wars.
Boba Fett.
What is the price point? Just cruise out. What is the price point where you would still buy this? Like, what's a good price to still buy this at?
I mean, for me, what I would be looking at is I would look at historical prices that it peaked at around when Star Wars was or when Mandalorian was out, and just look for some type of retraction of about 20 to 30%, and that's probably about where I'd go. I mean, depending on the grade, because it's any grade, whatever grade you're looking for. I mean, I know not everybody's dropping $1,000 on this book, so if you're looking for like a mid-grade copy, whatever that price point is, look for one that's dipped from that recent high and go for that.
Yeah.
That's why I always push people to get like subscriptions to things like Go Collect, Cover Price, GPA, whatever. It's like that information only helps you when you're looking for books.
Yep.
That's all.
This was a great cover for that old Star Wars series too. Like this was one of the most classic covers for sure.
Uncanny X-Men 101. I'm going to pass by all the Star Wars stuff because I am not creating anymore. Uncanny X-Men 101, first appearance of Phoenix, and it's the origin story as well.
Now, for me, I know some people may disagree with me on this because I know this book I feel like can be a little controversial because the character has been used multiple times already. And so that's definitely a downside with this book, that if the MCU was going to leverage this character, that they might not want to for quite some time. The other side of it is, though, that for me, this is, I mean, behind Giant Size X-Men 1 and maybe 94, to me it's the most important Bronze Age X-Men book. And wow. I love this cover. Like, I love this cover. It is one of my favorite covers ever. And so I'm a little partial. Like I love this book. And so for me, I'm buying that book whenever I see it at a good price, any type of discount to recent highs. And it has actually, at first when we were talking about this, it hadn't moved up that much, but I've seen some recent pretty big highs in it, and it's up quite a bit. It's up around 150, 160%. 9.4 is about $2,000, and so it has gone up quite a bit. So I would maybe watch it at this point and see if you see some dips in it, just because I don't see this character being used for a while, but if they use the character again. But to me, it's just too big of a character, too big of a piece of the X-Men storyline that I don't think you can ever really go wrong buying this book.
Yeah, I don't want to have to repeat everything you just said, because exactly what you just said is the main reason why I would buy the book. The same, like, she's established. This is a big storyline in the Uncanny X-Men. It's definitely a possibility in the future if you want to go speaking MCU spec wise. But I mean, for myself, I think it's actually one of the best covers in the Uncanny X-Men runs in the beginning. And it's like I said, you're getting the first appearance of Phoenix, origin story. I don't see a dip. whenever I hit up a con, I always end up seeing some Phoenix girls. You know what I mean? There's always someone dressed as Phoenix. It's an iconic character in the X-Men universe. I don't see it dipping. Like Ryan said, if you do see it, at a good price, don't pass on it, because I only think it's going up.
Someone in chat earlier asked if we think that they'll reuse villains in the MCU that they've already used with these properties across, the different, producers and everything like that before. And yes, actually, I do think they will use those villains, and actually even further, I think that they'll, not only use, obviously the heroes and villains. I think they will do some of the same storylines eventually too.
Yeah.
And this is one specifically, all of the stuff with, Phoenix and Dark Phoenix. Days of Future Past is another good one. Whenever they get into the X-Men and the mutants and everything like that, I do feel like we will see some of those storylines again. Now, granted, I think there is still a little bit of time on it, so you probably got a little bit of time on this book to, pick it up and everything like that. You may see a couple more dips before we actually get them. You might see some more. You're definitely gonna see some more spikes before we'll get them. But yeah, I absolutely think they're gonna do some of these storylines and everything like that. And Phoenix is one that it's almost assured that they're going to do it, because it plays, like you guys have said, it plays such a huge role. The beautiful part about the MCU though is that the way that they've set it up, it allows for a lot bigger storytelling. So like the Phoenix stories that we've gotten before have been kind of rushed and pretty shitty, to be honest.
Yeah, they've been terrible. That's why I think for a lot of us, I think it would be like Fantastic Four. Like, can they actually do it right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beautiful part about the MCU is, they've got more time to establish these things and to let them play out. So I feel like we'll get a better story out of it. It won't be the exact same story that we got out of the comics. You've already seen in the MCU, they're going to change shit up, a little bit here and there and everything to fit its purpose and everything. But yeah, we'll get something a lot closer to the comic book story that fans will probably like a lot more than what we've gotten already. So
I don't see them bringing the X-Men without ever touching, Phoenix.
Yeah, you gotta have Phoenix.
Yeah,
if you have Jean Grey, it's like they kind of come together. So
I mean, even if it's not for the short term, if you come across them at a really good price, like Ryan said, pick them up. Like, why wouldn't you? I haven't had a good price come my way. I should have bought them like earlier. But I mean, I could have said that about like so many other books.
Like every book right now.
Just Cruz has got a good question.
Well, if it's the same grade, you buy the 94. I mean, the 94 is significantly more valuable in grade.
Oh yeah,
it always looks like Kraven the Hunter to me. I've always said that.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah. I don't know why. But that's just me. But yeah, this is definitely a book. If it comes your way at a really good price, hop on it, because there will be a spike for it. Again, with most of these books though, the key is you got to have patience. If you can't be patient to buy some of these books for the return, you're probably going to either lose money or just barely make a little bit of peanuts, because that's it. You got to have patience. So, all right, next book up, one of my favorites actually is NYX #3. First appearance of Laura Kennedy, aka X-23.
Yeah, I love this book. This is actually, I talked about on my channel. Like I keep basically, like, my PC is like a pretty tight set of 50 books, and I have a 9.8 of this, and it is one of the books that I put in that list, because
Nice.
I think it's a great cover. In high grade, this book looks absolutely incredible. Like, I had a low grade one, I had like a 6.5, and then I got the 9.8, and it's just something about it, just the way that gray looks, or whatever it is, it looks awesome. And again, this is similar to Sabretooth. You've got a character that's you're linking to Wolverine, and anytime you're linking the most popular character or one of the most popular characters in Marvel to another character, they're going to have a lot of value. And we know that the MCU likes expanding out into having more, female characters, more diverse characters, that kind of thing. And so you could potentially see this character before you see Wolverine. I mean, I think that could even be a possibility.
Well, we technically got her in Logan.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
in the MCU though.
But yo, no lies, I loved her character in Logan. Like she was spicy, man. I was like, ooh. But yeah, no, 100%, dude. This is a character that, like, whether you want to go MCU spec or even just comics, she's gonna play a key role. At least that's what I think. I would definitely pick up a copy if you come across one raw, because, man, I rarely see these where I'm at. You know what I mean? In my shops, I almost never find one. So just for that reason, I want it. You know what I mean? It's like, finally, I found one. But yeah, I would definitely pick one up. She's, especially with the MCU playing in on all, the young characters, if they ever make their way into the MCU, like the mutants and whatnot. Like, this is something that I do see also being a character that they would bring in too, right? So.
And with respect to you saying to pick it up raw, I can't remember his channel. There's a guy, I think it's the Comic Doctor. He has he's in Canada as well.
Here he is.
I've heard him say, he's like, this book takes a press better than like any other book. He said it seems to clean up extremely well. So if you do find a raw one, get it, send it in to get pressed and graded and see what you get.
Yep. Yeah. See, like Hyper said, man, like, I feel, especially in comics, this is what they're doing, right? So there's a lot of stories still to be told for this character. So I don't see it ever dipping. This is only going up.
Yeah, I think she's there's a lot of potential upside there for her. She's a fan favorite character, and it kind of falls into the same category as like Miles and Riri and Kamala and those newer characters. And she's just a new version of Wolverine, which is already a character that everybody loves. So whenever you combine like the likability of her character and the portrayal that they've given her in the comics, and just the badass that Wolverine was, yeah, it's almost going to be guaranteed success. So when we see her in live action, and I think we will for sure. This book is going to see even bigger spikes than it's already at, and could potentially definitely get up there with the same range as Miles and Kamala and everything like that. So I think it's still a little bit lower than them right now.
Yeah. This one is
not much, though.
This one is up there with Fantastic Four, number 4 for me. It is one of the biggest regrets. I had set out to buy that one and this one at a certain Comic-Con back in 2013. I let somebody kind of talk me out of it on both books. And arguably one of the arguments made was, you're actually going to pick up a guy in a Speedo for the Fantastic Four. And then somebody had said, do you honestly think that they're going to do a little girl as Wolverine? So I kind of got talked out of it back in 2013, 2014 when I was buying this. This book came back around like a few months later after the con at one of my shows, or at one of my shops rather. And the guy had a 9.8 for $240 Canadian. He told me he would give it to me for $200. And I was kind of like, still had that thought in my mind, like, no, there's no way they're going to do this. I can't see it, yada, yada, yada. And it is one of the biggest regrets. Yeah. I've never seen this book raw in my life.
Yeah.
I've only just seen raw copies. I've never seen it in the wild. I've never been that lucky. I don't even know anybody who has found it in the wild. I'm sure somebody will at some point. But yeah, this is definitely a book. The success they had with that Old Man Logan book show or movie, it'd be hard for them not to use that character again, just because of all the success that Old Man Logan movie had, right? So, and they got something there.
Yeah, and if you're ever looking for another option for this one, just like a super rare book, there's that Delato X23 #1. Have you ever seen that one?
Yeah,
That cover is an awesome cover, but it's more than this for a 9.8. It's like 2,500 US.
Are you talking about the black one or the booty one?
It's where she's up on like the top of a roof and like bent over, like with her claws down and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
man, honestly, my comic shop actually had one of those in an auction back in February, March, and it actually went for reasonable money.
Wow.
I need to watch those My Comic Shop auctions. I never remember to watch their auctions. I never think about them with auctions. I always think about just the straight purchase prices.
Right.
Chad, it was, dude, I tell the same story. They had an Iron Man 7.0 and they wanted 450 or 425. I can't remember. And I passed even on that one. So if I passed on Iron Man 1 for like $150 more, do you think I was, like it was a different time, right? So.
But to tie in Chad's comment about punching him in the you-know-what, Spider actually had a question. Are you still friends with this guy?
No.
Okay, because I was going to tell you, do what he said to that guy, man.
No. The only thing worse than someone talking you out of buying a book is letting yourself do it. I know.
Seriously.
And now, like Fantastic Four #4 is my biggest regret. Like my biggest regret. It was a very high grade. It's, what's a 6.0 going for right now in that book? I mean, it was, So I don't like talking about that book, but it is one of my favorite books, and it is one of my biggest regrets. So if anybody wants to send me a birthday present or Fantastic Four #4, I mean, just let me know.
Right. Hey, I'm always looking for copies of Amazing Fantasy 15. So,
yeah. All right. We got Mr. Ghost Rider, Marvel Spotlight #5.
So I don't know if you can still see me because my computer screen just went dark.
You're good.
Nope, you're good.
All right. So I'll just speak to this blind because I can't see what's on the screen.
Just pick your nose.
Yeah. But Marvel Spotlight 5. I mean, first Ghost Rider. This is kind of to me in the same level as Sabretooth. Now I realize he's not a villain, but he has that similar appeal as a character. He's just kind of like a badass motorcycle riding type character, and just seems to have a strong appeal for both those guys. And we had a recent sale for a 9.8 of Marvel Spotlight #5 of, now I got to remember, I think it was $456,000. Or no, that was wrong. It was like $264,000. And so that type of sale, that type of massive sale, drives up the prices of the lower priced books. And so that's when, like, we saw that last year. We had some really big sales for 9.8s of Detective Comics 359, the first Batgirl, and Batman 181, the first Poison Ivy. And those big sales really caused the lower grades to move up. And so that's the same type of thing I've been watching with Marvel Spotlight 5. It's just one of those characters. I don't think you can go wrong with it. With Marvel looking like they're getting into the horror genre.
Yeah.
You have to imagine he's going to show up at some point. And so with his level of popularity, with the relative scarcity of that book compared to other Bronze Age keys, especially in even mid-grade, if you can get it, go for it. But it is not cheap. That is a very expensive book in almost any grade. I mean, you'll be hard pressed to find it under $1,000. Even in low grades now.
Yeah, exactly, man. And it's funny that you mentioned that they, you were bound to see Ghost Rider at some point. I do hope we end up getting Johnny Blaze because, this is where Johnny Blaze makes his first appearance. But there was actually rumors recently that Ghost Rider is supposed to be appearing within Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Whoa.
So I don't know if this is true. You know what I mean? This is rumors, and you know how the internet is. So please don't quote me and go buy this book and spike it up or whatnot. I'm just telling you, if you do see it, definitely.
It's already spiked up.
Right.
I don't think you have to worry about that.
Yeah, but it is. I saw someone say that this is a grail, and yeah, totally. You know what I mean? This is the first Ghost Rider, and Ghost Rider is a character that I've always found so badass. So. It's an automatic for me, but investment wise, I don't. This isn't. It's not dipping or dropping anytime. It's only going up, And if that rumor is to be true, guys, you're in the money for sure.
I mean, it's gonna be Keanu Reeves, right? You know.
Oh God. Oh God.
That's what always happens, right? Fuck.
Yeah, the only problem with this book is you have a bunch of asshole comic book fans that sit around watching YouTube videos that talk about comics, going out and buying this book with no actual news or anything. Because there haven't really been anything saying that we're gonna see Ghost Rider or anything like that. It's just that, us as comic book fans, we watch these movies and we hear those little things from Kevin Feige, like, oh yeah, we want to lean into the horror, and well, we know Ghost Rider's coming. Like, it's only a matter of time. So you've seen this book already shoot up in price because everybody's looking to see Ghost Rider because he is such a cool character and everything like that. Of course, it's got room to go whenever you do see a trailer or whatever. But I mean, it's already at a pretty high price. Obviously, there's definitely still room to go up there though.
Yep.
And it will happen once those trailers drop, and it looks pretty dope. So
yeah, what kind of person watches YouTube videos about comics?
I know, right? Who does that?
I got asked from when I had my Carnage book up for sale, ASM 361. Somebody actually offered me a 0.5 of this book.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like in terrible condition though. Like it was like it did not, obviously the 0.5, it did not present well. I turned it down. I don't regret it, but at the same time, I mean, it is a big master grail. It's only going to go up, and you guys are forgetting, right? With the rumors, let's look a little bit, like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I mean, Midnight Suns, popped off. If they're going to be doing that, I mean, obviously he's got a crucial part in that. So, you have to see it. I haven't heard the rumor that BC just said about him kind of being in the Doctor Strange. I think, who's going to Doctor Strange now has taken over when Mephisto showing up, basically. Because,
everybody coming in Doctor Strange.
Mephisto showing up here. No, he's going to show
the multiverse. It can be
right. Yeah, exactly.
Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, no, this character's going to show up in Doctor Strange too. It's like, okay, I've already heard like 25 characters that are going to show up in Doctor Strange too. So you basically got Civil War 2 or Secret Wars going on. So it's going to be very interesting. But again, I just can't see them bringing in like a mega person, just simply because I think now with watching Loki and the fact that it's called, the Multiverse of Madness and all that, I think we're going to kind of get a little understanding of what that's all about. I
mean, I know a lot of people were also saying that they thought there was no way that they would actually show Kang in Grant. I mean, whatever version of Kang he was, but that they wouldn't show him in Loki, and they showed him. So.
Yeah.
But guys, you know what I'm expecting in the Multiverse of Madness at this point, with everyone's hyping that, hey, this guy might pop in, that guy might pop in. Ghost Rider, they did say that Doctor Strange is supposed to be a horror movie, so it is fitting, right? You know what I mean? This is a character that can come off as badass, scary, whatnot. But you remember how in which movie was it? It was Guardians, when they're like jumping through like time loop or something like that, or like galaxy holes, and you just see them zoom by Stan Lee with the Watchers.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? So
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, I think the Multiverse of Madness, we might like get a surprise, like we'll see a character just for like a quick second.
But I think
it could be an Easter egg or something.
Yeah,
I think they just did that with Loki though. I think because let's be real.
Yeah, they do it in all of them.
Saying the exact same thing. There's no goddamn way they're going to show Kang. Boom. Yeah. He goes up. So I don't think that, I think that they just gave you that, that right field thing. Now I just think that they're going to stick to script and be like, hey, we already gave you guys Kang. So we can't, so I don't know. But that's the whole beauty of this, watching it. If you're only in it for the movies or if you're only in it for comics, I mean, that's the beauty of it, is the guessing and the what if, and it builds the conversations. And that's what, kind of gets us to do stuff like this. So
I feel like Doctor Strange will probably be in that movie.
I hope.
I'm expecting that movie to be like one of the best movies. Like I expect after that movie to come out, I'm expecting people to be like, yeah, that's in my top 5.
Doctor Strange books are definitely ones that have been fighting this recent trend of like declining prices a little bit. Because,
right.
it's like what happened with Loki, where people started buying the books well before the show came out and the prices spiked early. And I feel like that's what they're trying to do now again with Doctor Strange. Like Strange Tales 110 has just gone through the roof. That book is ridiculous now.
Also, Bleecker is right. There's a lot of dick punching going around on tonight's show. So, yeah. All right.
Oh no.
Oh, now you're gonna have new dreams.
All right. We got Fantastic Four, number 67.
Yeah, so I mean, I just did a video about this book, and that I know that this is not a popular cover. People aren't huge fans of this cover. It is not the best, but I am a big believer in Adam Warlock, him, whatever you want to call it, showing up because of the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. You don't have that type of event at the end of a Marvel movie and not see that show up, because that wasn't like one of the things with Howard the Duck showing up at the very end of the what was that, the first Guardians movie, where you have just like a little for fun clip. This is like something where this is a character they are planning to leverage.
Yep.
And so Fantastic 466, I wouldn't buy that book. That one, almost nobody really wants it. You just don't like, so I would stay away from that one. But 67, first time you really do see him anywhere, like his actual face, that kind of thing. And so that's one of the bigger books to me to get. And it really hasn't moved up all that much, because I can remember this one, because I talked about in my recent video, is up maybe like 75 or 80%, something like that. And when you're talking about other books moving up 150, 200%, and this is a character is coming, like I don't see you going wrong with it. He does have a messy set of first appearances.
Yeah.
But to me, it just gives you lots of options to buy.
Yeah. For myself, when it comes to Adam Warlock, especially after, like you said, that Guardians of the Galaxy, the bonus credit scene, I was like, holy shit. And you even hear her, she's like, I'm going to call him Adam. And you're like, fuck. The movie ends and you're like, man, I am so excited. Can't wait.
10 years later.
Yeah.
And then they fire the director.
But that's what I'm saying is we've never gotten anything else after that, right? So it's kind of been in limbo. So we know he's in that cocoon 100%, but did they even announce a casting yet? No,
No, not that I've heard.
It's from what I understand, it's Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah, for sure. I have a feeling. Yeah, he might have a dog, Adam Warlock's dog. But no. So back to this book. I mean, for myself, I would go with other first appearances for Adam Warlock. Him, you know what I mean? Like I said, I passed up on that Thor book that like I still dream about. So those are the books I would go for. For this book, it's still a good book to buy, investment wise. I do know that once he makes his appearance, this is gonna spike. You know what I mean? It's inevitable. It's a Jack Kirby cover, guys. It's a beautiful. I find it's a beautiful cover. I know Newbie loves cocoons, but it's definitely a book to buy. For those reasons, like I don't see this dipping. And
yeah, I mean, first things first, with Adam Warlock, regardless of which camp that you sit in, whether it's the Marvel premiere, Fantastic Four, or Thor, like you really can't go wrong. Because they've all gained in value. They're all, people want at least a version of one of the three. And Adam Warlock feels like, another pretty shoo-in to join the MCU at some point. I actually wouldn't be surprised to not see him in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, just because I feel like it almost feels like, because they did like a little thing in the first movie where there was like a fucking Easter egg or something with the cocoon, and then they did the end credit scene in the second one. I'm wondering if like they haven't actually decided to expand their plans with Adam Warlock, and instead of just subbing him into like another movie, they're gonna give him his own, his own whole thing, whether it's movies or series or whatnot. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised to see him show up there either, because obviously they've set it up and everything like that, and they could just drop some more some hints, or sort of like have him make a sort of like his comic book appearances where he like showed up for a second in Thor and then he was gone, or whatever. They could even do something like that with him in Guardians 3 to lead into an Adam Warlock project. But I think they do want to have an Adam Warlock presence in the MCU and the cosmic stuff for sure for over the next however many years if they can, because he's definitely got a very strong fan following.
Yeah. Ryan, it's interesting that you said he had something interesting to say where he said, his messy first appearance actually benefits everybody else. And what do I mean by that is, like, even in the chat, as we brought this book up, like, people are like, no, it's not the Thor. No, it's this one. No, it's this one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's totally fine, right? Like, that's part of the hobby. It's okay. You can have your opinion.
Yeah.
Just know other people have other opinions. So, as long as you're okay with that. But it's great because look at what happened with Wolverine, right? And it's not like Wolverine has a messy, first appearance. Well, not as messy,
but not as bad, yeah.
As this one. But I mean, like, when you look at the example of Wolverine, okay, 181 out of reach for 90% of people.
Yeah.
So go to 180. Well, that one's kind of out of reach for almost 80%. So what do people do? Well, they go down to the Wolverine #1s. But then that one's also at like the $1,500 range. So what do people do? Now they're going to Marvel Presents 72. Well, even that one in 9.8 has reached 1,000. So what do people do? They dumb down again. And I feel like that's what's going to happen here is when this character does show up, the market is going to dictate it.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, and Ryan knows this because I've talked to, Vancouver Comic Junkie. He's had conversations about this on the show and things like that when we've talked about the character. And Ryan knows how I feel about it. I really think that it's going to come down to Thor 165 or Marvel Premiere #1.
Agreed.
I think those two.
I agree. I think those are the two best ones.
Yeah. But what's going to happen is, because we see it with every other book, those books are just going to explode where this one's just going to be left there. And you're still going to have people buying into this one. So if you're looking at it as an investment, solely as an investment, I would still be buying this book because it is fairly cheap and you will see it at least double your money for it, because it's going to get to that point where, okay, I can't buy those other two books. They're just out of reach. This is the next one. I'll give you an example. Thor 165, because I was looking at it, a 7.0 in December was about $700 Canadian. A 7.0 in the same book, Thor 165 now, is almost a $1,400 book. So just keep that in mind. While this one has stayed relatively in that $300 to $400 range, in the $5 to $6 range. So just something to think about. All right, let's get out of this one because this one is always this book is in my nightmares for a lot of reasons. But
several people's apparently.
Here we are.
What do we got? We got Thor 165.
Bam.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
wow.
I was like, well, we'll be talking about that one in a second anyway. So
I had no idea.
but yeah,
It's gonna be a bad night for BC.
This is actually my top recommendation. Now, it wouldn't have been maybe a month ago because this is one that has retracted a little bit since its highs, and so since it's come down some, that makes this one a really solid pickup.
Yeah.
And because this is still Silver Age, the Fantastic Four 67 is like 1967. I think this one's 1969, like right at the end of the Silver Age. But then Marvel Premiere 1 isn't until like 72 or something like that. You're getting into bronze. And so you still got a great Silver Age book, and he's on the cover. So you actually have his first cover appearance as well. And I know BC just loves this book. So, but yeah, no, 100%. I would be buying this book, but my recommendation in reality is just I would buy this one. I would buy Marvel Premiere #1, and I would buy Fantastic Four 67. And the other one I really like is Strange Tales 178, which is first Magus, because that's something where I think that they could eventually, where they could take it, where you've got this character that, especially when we're talking about multiverse stuff, that's where he really thrives with that character. And so you could have him as a massive villain in that world if they decide to use him.
I think on eBay there is, just quickly before I let BC talk, I think on eBay there is still, because I was watching it for the longest time, there was a 5.5 of Marvel Premiere 1 signed by Stan Lee, and it was only $800.
Shit.
Wow.
So, ironically, here was my dilemma. Tyme, we'll say about like 7 days ago. I hit up an LCS, and literally this book is sitting there at $300. So I have yet to go back. I will not tell anybody the store because I am going to go back ASAP, like right after this show. But this is a book, this one and Marvel Premiere. Marvel Premiere happened to be sitting right next to this book at $450. Both of them being raw, guys. So, like we were saying prior, we know he's coming. This is the first appearance of Adam Warlock. This is a guarantee. I'm picking it up. I highly recommend everyone picks it up. He's hitting the MCU. We don't know how, but he's going to be there, and it's already been, dangled in front of us. So just go get it. If you find it, get it. Don't do like me. Don't wait. Because if I go back and it's not there, I'm gonna be like newbie with Fantastic Four #4. That's the one. There you go.
But that's where this is going to be, because I'm telling you, talk to the people who are really into the cosmic characters.
Yep.
This thing is going to blow up. This character is going to blow up, and he's not going to be a one and done. He's not going to be a one movie or just a small cameo. It's going to be big. So you look at the prices, and again, this show is for the people who, and it's no disrespect, everyone has different financials, but this is a book that even at the price point, I would still make this investment, no questions asked.
And dude, listen to what I said. There was this one at $300. You had the Marvel right next to it at $450. But my broke ass is only gonna spend $300, right? I can't go to $450. My wife's gonna kill me. So, but I would get either or, guys. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I probably would have grabbed both of them.
Me too.
Just like like we've said on the last book and this one, it's only a matter of time. I feel like before we see Adam Warlock, and I think everybody else kind of falls into that same opinion. So whichever book that you fall on in your opinion of thinking this first is obviously one that you would love to pick up. Yeah, I mean, and like Ryan was just saying, the stuff with the Magus and everything. Yeah, like that's exactly what I was thinking, that they could play out with Adam Warlock if they give him his own, his project, that the whole storyline with the Magus and everything. So I'm really hoping we'll see that down the road.
You guys know I have two 5.5s of this book, and I spent a total of $680 Canadian on both of them.
Nice.
And
because one of them you bought with your Carnage money, right?
Yeah, one of them I bought off of a friend of Chris, Vancouver Comic Junkie, at Atsford Comics. He had one for sale. He contacted me. We worked out a deal. I got it. And then a shop in Burlington had one. I picked it up for $280. And then I went to Bleecker, who did an amazing job, because there was water damage. There was a bunch of shit. I was nervous as hell. We sent it off, and it came back a 5.5. Nice. So I've got two copies of that 5.5. Again, a grand total of $680 for both of them. But I mean, if I were to put one up for eBay right now, I mean, that's like a $800 book. Like, it's, that's just what they're going for. And I get it. You can post whatever you want. Someone's going to pay that money for that book, because the book is just going to go up, right? So again, it's patience. But yeah, it's definitely a book I would jump on now, even at the price point. I wouldn't even think twice. Look, Vancouver, I know this book isn't on the list, but like, even Chris gave me shit for buying Avengers 48 at $650, my 7.0. That was like 4 months ago. But you go look at what a 7.0 and Avengers 48 is going for now, I almost tripled my money.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes you have to buy these keys even when you think they're really expensive, because they do have that. There is those chances. Well, not chances, but there is those times where
it's
they're going to.
It's the books that the characters are coming. Like that's the stuff that I like to talk about, where it's like, if you're just a little bit ahead of everybody else, you can do really well on big keys.
Yeah,
You know,
like
just
this one.
you know, yeah, just like this one, just like I mean, like everybody knew the Black Knight was coming. You know, it's like it wasn't a hard thing to predict. Everybody knew Eternals was coming. Everybody knew
Yep.
Shang-Chi was coming. Like
Yep.
all this stuff where it's just.
But I think Ryan, it's and we've touched on this like in other shows that we've done, mostly on like our Sunday show when we do the news and stuff. It's like Shang-Chi, Eternals, Black Knight. It's just things that we haven't seen. So like even though we knew they were coming, like people still had their like hesitancy, like they were hesitant to like go all in, I think, because of the fact it's like, well, we haven't really seen it yet. So like, let's wait, right? So I think that's just my opinion. I could be.
I mean, and the way that I really looked at that was the Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy books were nothing before those movies came out. And if you had gone heavily into them, you would have done extremely well. Like even something like Groot. Like people think Tales to Astonish 13 was an expensive book. It wasn't. It was, you could probably get a 4.0 for like $200. A 4.0 now is probably about $4,000.
Yeah,
and so it's just like Marvel does a really good job. They've earned my trust, that they're going to handle the properties well. Yep. And so I'll gladly buy into the stuff ahead of time.
Yeah.
Agreed. Oh boy.
Fantastic Four 48.
Man.
Cameo of Galactus, people. It's the cameo.
Yeah, but it's right before that. Like, look what you have written before that.
I know, but
I'm having to look at my the tiny screen on my phone to try to see what's on there. But yeah, no, I mean the big reason I think this is a good one to pick up now is this is another book that I've seen retracement in the prices. I've seen this book coming down. I've seen 49 coming down. Yeah. And they had moved up a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong; those books had moved up a ton in the last year.
Yeah.
But Galactus and Silver Surfer are, when you're talking cosmic, and we know we have the Fantastic Four coming, you just have to imagine they're going to use them at some point. It may not be any time around this first movie. It could be a ways off, but it's the same type of thing that I mentioned with one of the other books. You can't really go wrong investing in these type of keys because even if they don't move, it's not like you're likely going to lose money on them. They have a very strong baseline value. There's a lot of people that want those books, that are collecting those books. And so you can't really go wrong with them. And then when that character shows up, even though the books are pretty expensive already, I really have to just keep pointing to Kang. I mean, that blew me away what the prices on that book did between the casting announcement, which I thought already caused the book to go crazy, and then seeing him, and then they almost tripled again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nuts. It's crazy.
Yep.
So even though, like me personally, Fantastic Four 49 is my favorite in that run. That is my favorite cover. I love that cover, but 48 is no slouch. It is a great book to get. Now, one thing I'll mention though, I saw a crazy sale yesterday. I watch these heritage auctions every week. An 8.5 of Fantastic Four 50 sold for $7,200. Like,
holy
nuts. I watched that, and it was one of those sales where I was like, what the hell is going on?
Man.
I was like, what just happened with this book? But yeah, so those books definitely are, even if some prices dip a little, demand for those characters is strong.
Yeah, no, for sure. And guys, can we all agree Jack Kirby, man? He's just I love it. But
he like, it's like Ditko and Kirby. Kirby is much higher.
But so for me, Fantastic Four 48 and 49. Those are the two books out of the entire Fantastic Four run I wish to own. Like, those are the ones. I would love to own these, dude. And let me explain, okay? I love Silver Surfer.
You wouldn't put number 1 in there?
No, for sure. But I'm just saying, like, these are two books personally for the characters. Like, I absolutely love these characters. I know Face is a huge Galactus fan. And we know, guys, like, when you think like the big villains, you know what I mean, that are possibly to come into the MCU, like you're thinking, like, we already got Thanos, now we're getting Kang, Galactus is coming, we're gonna get Doom. Like, this is a character that, like, this is never going down, like ever. If you can obviously come across it, I would definitely, and you've got the coin to buy this, because this is not a small book. I don't ever see this dipping ever. Like I would buy into it 100%. This is like, I look at this book and I'm just getting chills. I'm like, shit, I need this book. But yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Silver Surfer and Galactus, and
Yep.
you know, obviously, I think both characters are coming to the MCU eventually. You know, that being said, you know, I feel like with that story and everything like that, you do still have time on it and everything, because you know, they're going to want to establish Fantastic Four and everything before they bring in, you know, Silver Surfer and Galactus. But
Yep.
the nice thing about it is, you know, whenever you hear that you still have time on it, that's probably the right time to be buying it up, because it's probably not going to get any cheaper until, you know, we do get those characters. Um, Even though these are high prices, yeah, once you finally see, you know, Silver Surfer and Galactus, you know, show up in a trailer or whatever,
Game
yeah,
over.
they're gonna spike again. So
And with what TJ said down there, that's actually something I've mentioned that on my channel a few times, where it's that fear with villains. You know, like now Kang, I think, is a little different than Ultron, because Ultron was definitely a one and done
Yeah.
movie character. Whereas I think Kang is going to be more like a Thanos level character. And so you're going to see him for, maybe 5 years, something like that. But after that, I mean, before Kang was announced, nobody cared about Kang.
No.
Like I had a 7.5 that I had bought for like $600. I had listed for maybe around 1,100 for months, and nobody, just lowball offers. And then they made that casting announcement. I had 2 copies of it. Both got bought instantly. And when you've got that kind of thing, it tells you that it's a character that is being bought for spec, not because people like love that character or anything. So when he's gone, that book is gonna that book is gonna go down.
And I think some people are forgetting like the premise of this, right? Of the show and like our conversation here. And it's totally fine. Like some people, like I see Chad being like, no, like don't buy it, it's at a high. And then I see, Comic Night being like, but what is the high, right? Like what is the ceiling? Because it keeps going up. And I agree with Chad. I don't think that this is going to be something that can sustain for years. Like in 5 years, it's going to be a different market. Shoot.
Yep.
When, Comic Night knows this, like Ontario opens, right? Like we've opened. So once we get shows and things like that, and I've talked about it, when like the world goes back, we're going to probably have a different market because it's going to be different. Cash is going to be exchanged. You're not going to see those high prices on eBay and then prices just go down. And there's, it's going to go back to just before COVID, where like, in the summer, sales were a little bit low. If you do your research, it's usually the fall or the spring that there's a lot of sales. The premise is, we're talking about books that we think you should get to make an investment. So while, say, a 5.5 for $3,000 is a lot of money for 95% of us, 99% of us, right? At the same time, if you were to buy this book right now at a 5.5 for $3,000, when this character shows up, Silver Surfer or Galactus, what history has shown us is this is double. You will be able to sell this for $6,000. So whether you'd like to take that $3,000 and put it in the bank for 5 years and make that money, or you would like to take that money and put it on this and have no fees, have nothing on paper, that's kind of where the argument goes, right? So you got to understand the risks, but at the same time, if you are following what's going on, I mean, once a character hits, hits, right? And Silver Surfer is going to be very popular. Galactus is going to be very popular. Thanos level, Kang level. I think, it is a smart investment.
And Nubi, just to hit on that topic, because this happened even prior to COVID. Like in the MCU, when a character would hit the big screen, books would blow up. You know what I mean? So just to put emphasis again on what I was saying as well, I do see Galactus, Silver Surfer being characters that are coming. So yes, this is a ridiculous price for the average person. I mean, that 5.5 at $3,000, I can't afford it right now. But if I had the opportunity in the cash right now, or sorry, the 5.5 is $3,000. If I had that, I would buy it right now, because I know this is going to eventually go up. like Newbie said, if you're putting money in the bank to watch it grow, you could do that, or you can do this. You know what I mean? So either or is fine. But yeah,
dude, I'll even say like Hulk 181 right now. I mean, that's kind of like it stopped doing this and it's doing this.
Yep.
Yeah, I was talking with Omega Red about that, and I was just saying, I was like, Hulk 181 and Hulk 180, what I should legitimately be doing right now is just like selling my books and buying those.
Yeah.
It's like when I see those books dropping significantly, and then like I said, like I always keep kind of like crapping on Avengers 8, but then I see Avengers 8, spiking like crazy. I'm just like, it's first Wolverine.
Yeah.
like versus first Kang. Like nobody cares about Kang, but everybody loves Wolverine. Like that's why you've got people that have like not quite boxes, but parts of boxes full of Hulk 181s. I know I've talked about that, I think, before, where like Golden Age Guru Jeff has mentioned that, where he tried to put together like a short box of 181s, and it's just like, yeah, it's because it's just a very sure thing. I mean, if you think about it in an investment standpoint, that's what it is. Like, it's just a popular character.
Yeah. And that's what you got to go by, right? And it is what it is. I mean, everyone's going to have different opinions, right? But I mean, I just look at the conversations I've had like since last year, where people are like, "No, man, it's going to be done. No, don't even buy that character. No, this is the ceiling. This is and we're August is next week, so depending on where you are, I mean, in Canada, we're getting ready for the fall basically, because once the mid-September comes, it's fall. You're wearing pants. I can't wear sandals.
Oh my God.
Anymore. So, you're getting into that, and then you're going to be hitting that 2-year mark where it's like some of these books are just getting crazy. So I don't know. I'd like to be optimistic, but at the same time, if you look at what happens in the comic world, obviously, once one of these two characters comes, I mean, you're doubling your money. Look at anything, right? Look at Kang. Look at anything that happens, right? Like a $1 book, if it's just hinted at, goes to like 100. A $2,000 book goes to $4. So it's just But hey, buy what you want. Stay within your budget. You know what I mean? So
yeah, man.
All right. Some modern stuff. And I heard somebody actually earlier in the comments, and I didn't address it, say, oh, no DC. We actually had one DC book. But if you remember, the first time we did this segment, which was a month ago, we had about 4 DC books on there. So this one is kind of more Marvel, I guess. So, just letting you guys know. But yeah, we got a modern book here, Edge of Spider-Verse #2, first appearance of Spider-Gwen.
Yeah, I mean, she's almost on the same level as Miles in popularity, and I don't see them not leveraging that in some type of live action capacity.
Yep.
I mean, the way that Ultimate Fallout 4 is kind of like a modern like major key. So is Edge of Spider-Verse 2. I think they just go hand in hand. I wish I had a first print of this book. I have the 4th print because I really like the 4th print cover, but it's a book that's on my list that I'm watching for, that if I see one that's at a price I'm comfortable with, I will definitely pick up this book. Long term, she's one of the futures of that universe.
Yep, I agree 100%. I actually have this book in a 9/8.
I was gonna say, like, don't you have it? I was waiting for him to say that.
Yeah, I do. But the reason why I don't think this is a bad spec, now this is me just putting it out there. Like I said, Marvel's clearly focusing on the future. Look what happened with Venom. They brought in Dylan. You have the X-Men that's being revamped. They bring in the younger characters. There's a lot of focus on Miles Morales. There's a lot of focus on Gwen Stacy. There's a lot of I would even put some chips into Silk. You know what I mean? I do think that these characters are going to bring forth the future of comics. So for me, this is a key. It's a must grab. I wish I had more of it, to be honest with you, because I do think right now it's at a high. I don't know if it'll go up now. You know what I mean? I think this is more of a long-term play. But definitely, like I said, the development into the younger characters it's there. You know what I mean? So this is a definite pick it up. If you come across it raw, definitely. I have, there's some people that I know trying to pick up some covers at ridiculous prices, and I don't recommend it. You know what I mean? Because I would feel uncomfortable right now paying, let's say, $2,500 for a 9/8, because I go on eBay, just to check where it's at, and I'm like, Jesus, man, it's like it's not stopping. But I also think it's a little questionable at the moment. Like, why is this skyrocketing so fast? But yeah, all this to say, I do think the young characters are going to be brought forth as the main characters, and it's a book I would definitely invest in myself.
I'm seriously curious, who the fuck was irradiating all these spiders? I mean, there's just so many fucking spider characters. But that being said, you really can't go wrong with them.
Yeah,
they've all been pretty successful, so Gwen's no different. Casting is going to be important for her, but I feel like Marvel will probably choose right if they bring her to the MCU and everything like that. But even without MCU spec, she's still a cool character, still got a cool design that has resonated, outside of comics, even without live action appearances. So, that already shows you that the character's kind of safe to put some faith in. Whenever, you see girls picking up the pink and white, jackets and everything like that without even knowing anything about the character. So obviously when it does hit,
I always wonder if Marvel, how much say they have in the Sony casting. I'm curious what their involvement is.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know
how
that
works. They have to have like an agreement. Something's got to give,
right? But I know they reworked that entire thing. No,
or probably.
Well, I mean, it almost fell apart like a year ago, or
that's
2
what I'm
years
saying.
ago now. But yeah, no, it seems like it's on pretty good footing again.
I feel like we lost
crickets.
Am I just seeing blank, or
that's what I'm trying to figure out is
Newbie may have froze again.
He looks shook.
He looks like he's frozen. That or he's
Can you guys hear me though?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. I don't know. We're good. It's frozen.
Maybe your computer did the same thing mine did.
But mine's frozen. But yeah,
we definitely have a black screen here right now. So
we'll figure it out.
Cool comics, bro.
One of the biggest reasons why I think this one is very important actually is because I don't think you can have Miles without mentioning her in the future. And if you're one of those people who thinks Miles is going to be the future, well, then you probably have to keep this one in mind, right? It's just common sense to me. Similar to MJ, but obviously, Spider-Gwen's going to have a bigger role. So it's not that crazy when you think about a mega character and a 9/8 for $2,000, comparatively to other big keys. I mean, you're talking about 9/8.
Now we lost him.
Yep, yeah.
He's gone. And he's gone.
Yeah. But I just want to put some emphasis on what Face was saying, because it is true. I keep seeing a lot of Spider-Gwen. There's kids dressed as Spider-Gwen. They trip out on Spider-Gwen. I'll go to EB Games and you see this little kid picking up some Spider-Gwen stuff. So it's kind of cool. You know what I mean? It's I really feel like they're going to be putting emphasis on all these younger characters. And definitely you tie the three together. You got, let's say, the Miles character. You get Gwen Stacy, and not fully young, but Silk too. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people behind Silk. So those three are the ones that I see them putting a lot of focus on. Who knows what they do with Dylan now? You know what I mean? So,
yeah, and you know what? It's honestly not really very different than it was in the 80s or even the 90s. The merchandising and the marketing plays a huge factor into this stuff. And it shows even more prevalently now. Before in the 80s and 90s and everything, if you could sell an action figure off of a comic, that was fucking great.
Yep.
But now you can sell, action figures, movies, beach towels, fucking anything, basically, because it's just become that popularized. So, when a character has merchandise on a shelf and they haven't even made an appearance in live action and everything, you've got to think at some point they're probably going to say, hey, we can make more money off of this one.
Yeah.
Let's throw her in a movie.
Yeah, that's and that's a big thing, is because I think we all know that comic book sales themselves with the younger generation aren't as high. So they're Disney and Marvel aren't stupid. You know, they're there to make money, and so they're going to figure out how to make money, and that's going to be through that other type of merchandise. They'll get those characters to people, whether it's through comics or through some other avenue.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
All right, you're back.
Well,
Sorry. One of the I must have clicked like do update now, so like it like just
Nice.
my thing. So yeah, that was my bad. Yeah. No, did you guys hear what I said about the book though?
We stopped listening long
Most of
ago.
it. Yeah.
So yeah, basically I just said, you know, like when you think of Miles, you obviously have to think about Gwen Stacy and Spider-Gwen and things like that. So I don't know. I just think it goes hand in hand. So I mean, if you're big on Miles, I think you have to kind of be big on you know, Spider-Gwen. At the same time, when you look at 9/8 going for $2,000, comparatively, when you look at other big characters, the 9/8 is usually that 4, 5, some reaching $8,000. It's not a bad book at $2,000 to be there, especially if you can get it kind of when it's a little bit quiet and people aren't really talking about Miles. Right now is a good time because even that Miles book is going down.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that, you know, to me, I think that's a smart play to grab it because, like I said, if you're thinking Miles is going to be big, she's going to show up.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just struggle with the idea of a modern, you know, costing that much. So I think it's definitely a mentality thing that's tough to get
But-
by.
Brian, you see, now that you bring that up, because even someone like myself, like, okay, yes, I'm happy I own it, because as a seller's perspective, if ever that day comes, like, okay, yeah, I get to cash out. But I also found it questionable how rapid it grew throughout COVID. You know what I mean? Like, that's really when it took place. Like, from the beginning of the pandemic till now, it was just like, it went from what, $100 book, $200 book, like, it just
Was it ever that low? I always thought it was around like 700 or 800.
no, man. I had seen them lower. You know what I mean? This is, let's say, about, okay, we'll go 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, they were lower, and then all of a sudden it started hitting. Like, I remember looking on eBay throughout the pandemic, and I would see $1,000. I'm like, oh shit, I'm in the money. Then I would see 1,200, 1,500. I'm like, this can't be happening. And then it hit $2,000. I'm like, okay, this is wild. What's going on? So
Yeah.
what made Gwen Stacy blow up? Because I know Miles, you know, there was some hype with the video game and some other things, Spider-Verse and all that, the movie. But that also too exploded during, you know, the last year.
Yeah.
But Gwen is why the book I question, what caused Gwen to explode? That I have no answer.
I think a lot of it is what Newbie said is that it's she goes with that character. You know, I think that's kind of probably what does it, is that people just assume if you're going to eventually see Miles that you're going to see her at the same time. But that's just my guess on why, because it didn't go up as much as Ultimate Fallout 4.
Yeah.
But it is getting up there. I mean, it's getting to Ultimate Fallout 4 did hit much higher prices, but it's like was said, it's come back down and it's now around similar pricing.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. Yeah. So yeah, that was all the books. We are definitely gonna be doing something like this again. I know I've already started, and I got about 4 more books on for the next one, which Ryan has no idea. So he's gonna have to do some research on some numbers again. But yeah, I've already started doing it. These are really fun. And Chad, I saw your comment about playing devil's advocate. No, 100%, man. I don't think you're a douche or anything. You kind of have to play it like that. I know a lot of people, you know, they say the same things, right? But it is a good conversation to have. And again, these are all our opinions. Hopefully nobody's got eBay open and buying all these books right now, because, you know, that would just be crazy.
Cost you a fortune.
That would cost you a fortune too. You know, hopefully if you have a significant other, you probably need a comfortable couch, or, you know, you need to have somewhere to live after buying all those. But yeah, just books that, you know, if you have the money and you're looking for an investment, just some of the books that, you know, we've kind of talked. Again, me and Ryan kind of knew the books and the numbers more so than Face and BC, but yeah, again, it's all opinionated, so don't take our word. I don't want anybody messaging anybody on this panel tomorrow being like, "Hey, I bought all the books you guys were talking about."
I mean, but it's like you said earlier, though. I mean, patience pays off as well with this. So I mean, I'm always like when I'm buying books, I'm not going out there and just finding any book on eBay that's at the maximum price and buying that. I'm very patient with the books that I buy, and that's what I preach or recommend or whatever for other people too. Patience pays off. Now, I mean, obviously, it's if you want the book and you want to spend it and you got the money, it's fine. Go ahead and do it. But you can always find not always, but you can usually find a better deal if you just take a little time and wait.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, if you look at like this list of comics that we just threw together, if someone went out and bought that entire list of comics and you lost fucking money on that list, stop selling comics. You're doing something very wrong. I mean,
yeah,
it would be kind of hard to lose money on with those 13 or 14 comics or however many it was.
It's like you buy them fixed price and then immediately list them auction.
Right. You're probably going to gain $100 at least. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, listen, Ryan. We've had a lot of people in the chat, so I want to thank you for hopping on. Let the people know what you do. When you drop videos and things like that for the people that don't know anything about Automatic Comics. Yeah,
so I usually put out 2 to 3 videos a week. I used to try to do it like every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, but I couldn't stick to that schedule. So they come out when they come out. It's usually 3 times a week. And I should have one that's dropping tomorrow. I'll be editing tonight after this to release. But it's usually I like doing unboxings because I tend to buy a lot of books that a lot of other people don't usually show on YouTube channels. I buy kind of like the silver and bronze keys, but I also buy a fair amount of golden age books. And so I think it's just fun to show those because I think it's like anything. You like to get people interested in the things that you're interested in. And I think a lot of that golden age, like pre-code horror and all that kind of stuff is just, it's super fun. And so I like showing that stuff off. And then I usually do a market video every 1 to 2 weeks. I watch the heritage auctions and I track the sales and I kind of look at how things are moving each week. I do some kind of like shocking sales videos. And then I also just have some regular like tip videos. Like I did one on tips for selling comics, and I've got some ideas for some based on some recent sales I've seen on eBay that were questionable at best. And so just maybe some things on how to not burn your money when you're buying comics on online and that kind of thing. But yeah, just I like to stuff that I like to see, the videos that I like to watch, and things that I think are useful. I like to make very similar content because it's just fun.
Yeah. And if you're only on Instagram and you're not into the whole YouTube thing, well, you're probably not here, but Automatic
Comics
on Instagram. So yeah, that was Ryan. I mean, I watch Ryan. I have him on, I got the bell on when he has does videos. So it's very informative. A lot of numbers, a lot of money, a lot of, information given out. So make sure you guys go tune in. Face, let the people know what's happening on your end, man. You got a show Mondays at 7 p.m. What's happening this upcoming Monday?
Oh yeah, every Monday at 7 you can join us over on my channel for Previously On. This Monday, we're still actually kicking around ideas for this Monday show. We just actually put out some information on last Monday's show about an art contest that we're running. So I'm gonna borrow your show for just a second to talk about that. We're doing a Stray Dogs art contest. So basically, if you're interested in it, or just hit up me, BC, or Mr. Key Issues. We're taking the early submissions for the Stray Dog art contest. There's going to be 2 different stages to it. The first stage, we're just looking for like quick sketches of like some Stray Dogs characters or whatever, and then it's going to be voted on by the fans, people watching the show and everything like that. The second stage, we're hoping to get some of the creators involved possibly and everything, but there's going to be some prizes. We got some books that are being sent off to be signed by the creators and everything like that are going to be a part of the prize package that gets announced for us. So if you're interested and you're artistic, hit one of us up and definitely get involved in the contest.
Yeah, man. Ryan, I just want to put it out there. Yes, I agree 100,000%. I started following you when I found out you were going to be on the show, and even on Instagram, the content is awesome. So, guys, definitely follow.
Thanks. Yeah, appreciate it.
For myself, guys, it's the same routine, man. Since I've started, hold on, let me see if I have this right. You got Sunday, and then you got I can't get it right. Hold up. And then you got Monday, and oh yeah, okay, you get Tuesday. So that's me. So I'll be back, I guess, Sunday with Newbie, Monday with Face, and then back here with Newbie.
Yeah, and like BC just said, I mean, we go Sunday and Tuesdays, and just remember one thing.
Oh yes.
Yes, my parting words is: if you're too broke to buy comics, visit your local library.
What the fuck?
I don't know. I tried to
just get us out of here. Just get. That will never get old.
I think that might be my new parting words. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Ryan, as always, thank you, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Don't forget to sub. Go follow everybody. Chat. Thank you so much. You guys will get a video from me on Thursday, and like I always say, keep searching because those books are out there.